Hello everyone, welcome to the third part of explaining Miyabi. With her new changes, things are shaping up to be balanced on the game's current standards. However, do we really think these changes are affecting her? Let's sit down and figure out what happened. But before starting the video, I'd like to invite everyone to my Discord server, which will be linked in the comment section below. And without further ado, let's start. On paper, these changes seem like a buff to many people. However, with these changes, Miyabi is losing damage massively. Now the changes are heavily tied to what she needs on her team, and that would be Yanagi. As a matter of fact, without Yanagi, Miyabi's damage is going to be dysfunctional at this point. I've sat down and tested and tried figuring out pretty much everything we need to know with her kit. Yanagi is pretty much nerfed from what we're seeing so far, with the elemental nerf to 18%, and to the disorder giving you 2 stacks of Frostfall. Miyabi is going to be heavily dependent now on Yanagi, without a doubt. And the main reason I say this is because of how dependent Bernice is going to be with her skill compared to Yanagi, who can proc Polarity Disorder and help Miyabi get her stacks, versus someone that needs a small push at least to get Anomaly applied on the enemy for you to then use Miyabi to apply another Anomaly to get your disorder out. This is heavily valued in Miyabi's case, where she needs to now have either a support or someone from the same faction, and on top of that she'll need a heavy investment if you're planning to go on free-to-play options, but more on that later. The nerf is pretty massive compared to Miyabi's older version, and with the Anomaly Master being nerfed versus to what she originally did back then, she will be applying less Anomaly than before. In case you didn't know, they switched the Anomaly Mastery to Anomaly Proficiency now, meaning her application is going to be down at least 1 shatter at worst, but 2 at best case scenario, even with Caesar around. And before I show you my calculations, I'd like to remind everyone here that in my previous video I showed A rank options that might help you as a free-to-play option for your Miyabi to be playable. However, many people started saying that there is no need for her main engine because these were the results of my calculations. However, I also mentioned in the video that we need to get back to reality because 1. Lip Gloss P5 needs at least 6 patches for you to reach that level of DPS and DPR. And second, I already thought that people knew the amount of luck that will be required to make Miyabi functional on a free-to-play option is going to be heavily dependent on your drive disk substats. I've made up a scenario where at least you, as a free-to-play player, got the best stats in the game currently with her new drive disks. In order for you to gain these results, while also losing other resources, you need these stats. I'm not going to spell it out loud to increase the duration of the video, but rather make sure that everyone watching is understanding what I'm talking about and everything is cleared up from my end. Now, if you gain these godly amount of substats on your Miyabi and use a free-to-play option, this is the result. Your result as a free-to-play option is damage loss due to the lack of the other stats that you could have used with her other W engine or her best in slot. However, if you're one of the lucky people that have steel cushion, then you're probably safe with how you want to build Miyabi in the first place without really extensively focusing on crit rate and some attack upgrades. But with that being shown on the screen, let me focus on the major part of her update and make a short version so we could actually look at her build. Long story short, with the Anomaly Mastery from her passive being changed to Anomaly Proficiency, her Anomaly build-up rate is going to lose. Her crit rate requirement is now 80% from 96%, which is still profoundly massive compared to other characters on free-to-play option. And lastly, the nerf on her disorder giving 2 Frostfall instead of 3 means that you're less likely to spam it like you used to before, or at least what you could have. You will still not use her burst when the enemy is not stunned. However, the rotation you'll go with when the enemy is stunned is going to be shown on the screen. You can pause the video here and read the rotation yourself before we go to the next part. So after explaining everything in a short amount of time, let's look at her damage, shall we? With the current changes, we saw her damage dropping compared to previous calculations, but still, by current standards, it's pretty powerful with her W engine. Miyabi's team dealt 5.9 million DPR, and this is with the assumption that you won't use the ultimate with Miyabi and Yanagi. However, when the enemy was stunned, the damage she dealt was pretty good, reaching 8.7 million DPR. Still a nerf, with the rotation shown on the screen, there's no doubt she can easily make things easier for you. Now, with her free-to-play option variant, as I've shown you earlier, which is nearly impossible to get this, the damage she gained while the enemy is stunned is 4.8 million DPR. And again, it looks pretty great with P5 Rainforest Gourmet to meet at least the damage loss she had with her build, because you will mainly focus on her crit rate and make up for the attack loss. However, while the enemy is stunned, her DPR reached 7.8 million, almost 7.9. Just keep in mind this is unattainable. And finally, with Steel Cushion, you're still on the safe spot. This might seem like less damage than free-to-play option. However, keep in mind that this is a damage calculation that is dependent on being heavily lucky with your drive discs to access her passive fully in the very least. Both while stunned and without being stunned, she's going to be performing way better than free-to-play options obviously, and this alone is pretty good actually. This doesn't mean her value dropped, but you should know already as a free-to-play option that if you want the best results for Miyabi, compared to all other agents we got so far, she will be in dire need of her W engine to make up for so many things that she is losing. Overall, changes seem decent, and I've tested one last option that is other than Caesar, and that would be Nicole. With Miyabi, Yanagi, and Nicole, you'll see better results while the enemy is stunned, reaching 9.2 million DPR. And that of course adds to the fact that Nicole is giving defense threat to both characters, and you're going to stay majority of the time on field with Miyabi, dealing more damage. However, when the enemy wasn't stunned, Nicole would bring the party down with their damage, because compared to Caesar, where she gives you 1k flat attack and 25 bonus damage on marked enemies, your Nicole is applying the defense threat on a moving enemy, making it more difficult to deal with, especially if it's moving. The damage the squad reached is 4.1 million DPR, not bad, but it is the worst variant for the Miyabi team we have seen so far, while the enemy wasn't stunned. So my overall thoughts are basically good. It is positive because the damage barrier was already increasing, and especially with how the new change is going to be providing you with more utility and power. But with Miyabi's change, at least with the last minute change as of recording this video, and hopefully they won't change it again because I had to scratch 5 minutes of the video. And before people ask me if you should use Bernice, honestly speaking, I don't see the idea or why would you use Bernice now. Instead, you would rather ask yourself, would you use this team over a Yanagi and Bernice team? This is the real question that we should ask ourselves in the first place. However, if we use Bernice with Miyabi, the application is not going to be as fast as it is with Yanagi, because we're achieving these numbers at the end of the day with how fast and consistent you're going to apply disorder on the enemy. She's pretty great, although very unfriendly for free-to-play option, and if you're free-to-play, you're going to suffer massively without her weapon if you don't have Steel Cushion. The whole idea of her giving 80% crit rate is for her to have more Anomaly application, and it would mean she is going to suffer massively with the damage if you're not meeting the requirements. And to be quite frankly honest, we've seen Hoyo doing this before with other characters. They feel like they're missing one crucial support for now, but until they release that specific support that many of us know they'll release, we have reached the end. Hopefully I've earned your subscription today. If I didn't, let me know in the comment section below if I said anything wrong, or if my video wasn't satisfying enough for your needs. Please forgive me as I've sat down and compiled 5 minutes extra for the video. However, due to the changes, I couldn't add them because they didn't make sense with the calculations. Please join my Discord, it's linked in the comment section below, and thank you N.E.P.S Discord for helping me out with this video. I'll see you in the next one. It is 3 AM, thank you very much.